That's a great question. So I'm not an educator, so I really, I only say that to say I don't know what schools do and they don't do currently. But I will say this: what is our responsibility, right? What is all of your responsibility in mental health? I think that someone has to go first, right? And I think that to me, what I want to encourage everybody here to do is to go first, right? I told myself, if I write this book and I put all this stuff that I dealt with, that I really struggle with out, I'm going first. And I want to show people that you can overcome these things. But I'm not, I was afraid, but I wasn't afraid enough. I wasn't so afraid that I wasn't going to not put the book out, right? I was like, I have to do this. And so I would say, I don't know what schools could do better, but I think we need to do a better job of talking about it. We need to do a better job of saying, hey, teacher, hey, counselor, hey, administration, I'm really dealing with some mental health stuff, and I just love to talk about it. And I think that the other thing too is that adults don't have the answers, right? And so I think we need to take the pressure off of them to solve all our problems. But I think that step one is going first. That's my challenge to everybody here is, don't be afraid to engage and go first and talk about these issues, because that is the start of the journey. This book is a journey that not ended. This book is me not dealing with mental health until I was 36 years old. And so from 36 till today, I won't tell you how old I am, but from 36 till today has actually been the start of my mental health journey. And so I wish I'd have started it all that time before, because I would have felt so much better. Yeah, great question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Two more questions. All right, who's talking?
Okay, I'm Jackie, and I'm class friends. And I was gonna ask, what books are you planning to write? Like ones that are similar to your first book, or different?
Yeah, so there's a book I'm gonna write on mental illness, and it's gonna be sort of similar to this book in the sense that, so I have a family member who's mentally ill. They're paranoid schizophrenic. And when I moved to London, actually when I started working at Rackspace, I was at Rackspace for 10 years, a decade of my life. Well, this family member of mine, during that same 10 years, woke up one day and the voices in their head said, you need to leave. And they left. And my family does not know where this person was in my family for 10 years. We have no idea where they were. And when I started studying paranoid schizophrenia, a lot of people that are homeless are mentally ill, right? So I have no idea if this family member of mine was homeless. I have no idea if they were living under a bridge, or I have no idea. But my whole 10 years at Rackspace, they were gone. And they came back, and now we know where they are, and they're very healthy, and they're on medication. So I'm gonna write a book to that relative, and I'm gonna write letters to them about all the adventures I had during that 10 years. And so when I was living in London, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. My mom was mad about that. I ran with the bulls in Spain. She was definitely mad about that. I did all these crazy things. And so I'm gonna write letters to my loved one and say, I wonder where you were when I was running with the bulls in Spain. And I hope you were okay, and I hope you weren't living under a bridge. But if you are, that's okay. So that will be a book that's very similar to this book, but I'm probably not ready to write that one yet. But it'll be probably the next couple years. Yeah. Thank you. I have one more question. Where's the...
Hi. Okay.
Hi, my name is Starbo, and I go to Cass Tech. I'm a freshman. My question for you is, while you're writing the book, did you feel relief and that you're expressing your feelings and that you're finally telling your story and sharing it with people?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I went to therapy, one of the first things my therapist did was, one of the first things my therapist did, he said, you need to write a narrative of your whole life. And he asked me 12 questions, write these down. And I did this kind of intense 3-day thing where he, rewired my brain. And at the end of this therapy session, he did something that I had only seen in movies, and I thought it was really lame and cheesy, where you write a letter to your parents and you talk to them in an empty chair. So you read one letter to your mom, empty chair, one letter down, empty chair. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be so lame. Oh my God. I was like boogers, snot, tears, it was a mess. And I felt so relieved, because my therapist, he walked me through this exercise where you go, hey mom, you did your best, these things were not so good, these things were great, but it doesn't matter, because today I'm an adult, and I'm now taking control from you, and now I'm in control. And it sounds so weird, but that was the first day I felt like an adult. And actually, it's funny, I told you my handwriting story. After that day, I told my therapist that I wanted to get that date engraved on a pen, 3/3/16. And I said, I'm gonna have them engrave it. He said, no, engrave it in your own handwriting, right? So you need to take back that story of your handwriting. So this is the pen I have on me always. 3/3/16 was the day I did that exercise, writing a letter to my parents, and then this is the first day I felt like an adult. And so when I wrote the book, the answer to your question, I felt so much relief, because now I was getting to write all these letters to myself and take back all these feelings and just reframe everything. And it felt so great, because I realized that this time period of my life, which was hidden in the darkest parts of my heart, was now going to be used for good. I was going to use it for good, and it felt so great and therapeutic to get it out there and share it with you. So I wrote it for you and for everybody here. Yeah, thank you.